a win. As Trenton Hassel told me, we're really trying to get this over with today. We see this as a chance to grow and make a name for ourselves. Al?
Opening tip, Garnett took it, and Minnesota with the opening possession in the game. Sam Cassell, and we'll watch him with Sprewell now with the ball because Cassell has had back spasm. First shot doesn't go, and the rebound comes off into the arms of Christie.
And that's a huge concern for the Timberwolves, is Sam Cassell, because he's so good down the stretch of games.
Christie missed the shot, dives to the floor, and we got a foul call on Minnesota. Dan Crawford, Joe DeRosa, and Bill Spooner are the officials today.
And Al, you're looking at Doug Christie, and I think he's the other key guy. If you look at Mike Bibby, and I said he is the only guy that can create, the only guy who has a chance to create is Doug Christie, and I think he has to do it.
In and out from Stojakovic, but then tapped back in by Vlade Divac. Stojakovic has been very cold in this series, and Divac is there to hammer it back home. Garnett, and his first shot drops to tie the game.
See, he's the one guy on both teams that can get his shot off whenever he wants to. Now, whether it goes in or not, we don't know. Usually it does, but he can always get his shot off.
Bibby off the screen by Weber, and Bibby in the lane drops one home.
But one of the things Rick Adelman said that they have to do is run more pick and rolls. More pick and rolls and get guys involved.
And then the T-Wolves turn it over on the travel. Rick Adelman, who twice took the Portland Trailblazers to the finals earlier in his career, trying to get back to the finals for a third time, has not won an NBA championship. Christie puts it up. Garnett with the rebound. Garnett led the league in total points and total rebounds. He wasn't the scoring champion. That is determined by average. McGrady won that, but more points and more rebounds than anybody in the league as Sprewell drops home a three.
Yeah, and you don't like that if you're the King, because Sprewell is a streaky player, and he was awesome in Game 5.
Aggressive. He drove the lane. He had 34 points, and here's Weber answering. Sacramento up by one.
Well, you will see Weber and Vlade Divac and Brad Miller with shots all night. Basically, the Timberwolves have decided they're not going to give any back cuts away. So they're going to leave one of their bigs in the paint, leaving the other big open for the Kings.
Divac taking it up court. Vlade's going to go all the way and puts it in.
That might have been the slowest fast break in the NBA history right there.
That was almost a 24-second violation when he goes coast to coast. Now Stojakovic with a steal and the basket.
Good timeout by Flip Saunders. You know, one thing the Timberwolves and Flip Saunders talked about before this game is keeping the crowd out. His number one key coming in this game was not turning over. Now, this is not slow motion. This is regular speed. That's Vlade Divac going full speed. And then the one thing the Kings said that they couldn't do, or had to do, is force turnovers, and they do it.
26% from three-point land, Doc, and that's been the storage of Sacramento.
It really has. Minnesota has made some nice adjustments. The biggest adjustment they've made, Flip Saunders switched after Game 1, Bibby's big game. He put Latrell Sprewell on Mike Bibby, and their belief is if they can keep Mike Bibby out of the paint, it keeps everybody out of the offense.
Bibby stole the ball. That's Bibby's third steal already.
Now, it's funny, before the game, we talked to Flip, and the one thing he said they couldn't do is turn the ball over. They already have 3 turnovers.
And underneath is a whistle, and there's a 3-second call underneath. Flip Saunders, who played his college ball at the University of Minnesota. That's where he met Kevin McHale, and the two of them have gotten together. McHale running the operation right now, and they have put together a team that was good enough to win the Western Conference #1 seed. That's why they would have home court advantage against the Lakers. But if Sacramento wins the series, the Lakers would have home court advantage in the Western Finals.
All because of Kobe's last shot.
Exactly.
Against Portland.
That made Sacramento the #4 seed instead of #2. foul here.
The one thing Cliff Saunders and Kevin McHale did, and we talked about this earlier, is adding Sprewell and Cassell. These are two guys who are good on their own right. You know, Kevin Garnett doesn't exactly make them better. They actually make him better, and that's why this team is better.
And he agrees. He was willing to share the limelight. Sprewell in and out. Bibby with a rebound. Kings up by 5, trying to force a 7th game, which will be played on Wednesday night, and among other things, give the Lakers more rest as Weber hits to make it 12-5.
Now that's the 4th time already in this game that the Sacramento Kings have come out and run an elbow pick and roll, and Bibby is getting into the paint. The one thing the Timberwolves do not want him to do.
Irvin Johnson, the defensive specialist, doesn't shoot much. That one well short. Christie comes down with the ball.
Another elbow pick and roll. Yep. Bibby gets to the paint all the way. That has to be a concern
off the Timberwolves. Off the pick set by Divac, and again Saunders wants to stop it before it really gets out of hand.
Bibby is going to go all the way down the paint and get layups.
They're on a 10-0 run, and Hassel can't stop that run with that shot. Garnett and Bibby going after the ball. Last touched by Bibby. Meanwhile, Mark Madsen, who came off the bench the other night and had 13 rebounds in Game 5, comes into the game with Irvin Johnson out. There's the former Laker and Stanford star.
And it's a great substitution because what Flip Saunders is looking for right now is energy. Because right now, all the energy is with the Kings.
Sprewell out of the corner. Got it. 3-pointer for Latrell to make it 14-8. Divac is guarded by Madsen, and a foul away from the play. Foul was on Hassel. Let's check in with Michelle.
Al, I spoke with Mark Madsen before the game, and he recalled Thursday a team meeting that Latrell Sprewell called when he said, anything else going on in your lives that doesn't have to do with basketball, put it on the back burner. Madsen believes that set the tone and that everyone's really done that, and the focus of this team has changed. I don't know what he'd say about this first few minutes, Al.
Well, Sprewell had the steal and had it restolen. Christie is wide open. Got it. 2-pointers.
Points off turnovers. We saw the graphic earlier. In the 2 losses, they've averaged 20 turnovers. And right now, they're back on their way to a high turnover game.
Make it a 3 for Christie to make it 17-8. 6.5.
You know, these are the shots that they haven't been getting. Wide open shots. Most of their shots have been contested. The one thing that the Wolves have done a great job of is contesting shots. So far, because of the turnovers, they haven't been allowed to do that.
And talking with Rick Adams before the game, Doc, he was talking about in all of the series, there are so many contested shots. Now, the series have been very physical, tough defense. Garnett works it all the way outside. This will be a 3 that doesn't go. Sam Cassell missing the shot.
And Mark Madsen to the rescue. See, great substitution. The guy is a rebounding, he's just an energy guy. He comes in and he causes havoc, and that's what Flip Saunders is trying to do. He can feel the energy all on the other side right now. He's trying to get his team involved in this game.
Last foul on Chris Webber. Sprewell. Garnett. They work it to the corner. Madsen out of the corner and puts that one home. We'll make it a 6-point game.
And the one thing they can't leave, you know, that was Fred Hoiberg taking it. It's one thing to leave Trenton Hassel, but to leave Fred Hoiberg, that's exactly what he wants. He is a shooter. He is too.
Bibby answers. Sam Cassell again with that back spasm showing no ill effects right there. He just come hobbling back up the court. He had to come out of the game the other night and had electrical stimulation being applied to his back while he was on the bench. And Bibby's going to make him work, and there is Cassell coming away with the steal. Sprewell dishes it off to Garnett in the corner. Matson is there for another offensive rebound, picking up where he left off the other night. Hoiberg got it.
Mark Matson has turned this game around, and Fred Hoiberg again with a wide open shot. But this is all Mark Matson. It's his energy. He's kind of changed this game in the 2 minutes he's been on the floor.
And that's one thing Minnesota can do that Sacramento can't, because Minnesota has a deeper bench. Rick Adelman, for the most part, just going with 7 guys, the shortest bench of any team in the playoffs. Divac.
See, they're going to live with that because they would rather take away the middle drive.
Sprewell. Rebound, Matson again, fighting, scores it. And it's 19-18. That's 17 offensive rebounds from Matson now in this series, and fewer as well. The big three in there right now with Matson and Hoiberg. Bibby misses everything. Sacramento with a 1-point lead. The biggest lead has been 9. 4:15 to go. Opening quarter, game 6. Minnesota trying to wrap the series up and get ready to face the Lakers. If they can do that here today, they'd meet the Lakers in Minneapolis on Wednesday as Sprewell connects the 3.
Excellent set by the Timberwolves coming out of a timeout. That was set up for Latrell Sprewell all the way.
Brad Miller is now in the game for the first time. Divac's out. Fed underneath. Stojakovic can't get it to drop. Hoiberg comes back the other way.
And those are the shots that Rick Adelman was saying that they had to go in. And you can't miss layups.
Again, they're hitting just 40%, and Sprewell another one, and that is the 6th three-pointer for Minnesota.
He is so streaky, and you know, when you get him going early, you usually have to deal with him the entire game.
Sprewell is 4 for 4 from three-point land, and we've played less than 9 minutes. Latrell with 12 points, 12 of Minnesota's 24. Now Garnett, guarded by Miller. Sprewell passed up a 5th three and then has it stolen by Bibby. He feeds Stojakovic. He can't get it to drop. Again, a blown layup. And now a 2-on-1. Cassell will stop from 16. 26-19 Minnesota, and Adelman has to take a timeout.
Yeah.
So Sacramento got up to that red-hot start. They've blown the lead. They've blown a 9-point lead, and they're down by 7.
Yeah, and it's 3-on-1. He went to Page's side because he knows he has to get him going.
Weber loses the ball. Started to fall down. Sprewell all the way, and then Sprewell has it knocked away out of bounds. And Minnesota will inbounds. Meanwhile, Cassell in the backcourt.
It looked like Cassell and Chris Webber were getting into it after the play was over. They get tangled up, and just watch it.
Anthony Peeler is going to come into the game. It's been that kind of a series. You had Miller and Martin the other night. I guess Miller got fined, what, $10,000? $5,000 a digit.
You know what that was, Al, was Chris Webber thinking the best way to guard Cassell is by laying on top of him, not letting him go.
Cassell with the last basket, 28-19. Stojakovic, they need him to get hot.
You notice how when he caught that shot out, he was drifting to his left. That's what the Kings need him. The Timberwolves have decided they're going to try to make him drift right, which he's not comfortable doing.
He set it up for himself that time. Was able to get the 3, and then Garnett gets the drop to make it 30-22. And for Garnett, now that's 4 points. Sprewell's been the big man. He has 12 points all on 3-point shots. Weber all the way in. And the offensive foul.
Mark Matson in the right place again.
30-22. Here's Michelle.
Well, Sam Cassell just really walked painfully off of the court to go to the bench. He's being replaced in the lineup, but he's really showing it out there when he's trying to run the floor. He's a lot slower than he normally is, and I think getting tackled by Chris Webber a moment ago may have caused this. Flip Saunders told me earlier that as long as Sam Cassell doesn't get banged around, he could be okay. But as you saw, he got banged around.
He's been grimacing since he came out for warm-ups.
Well, I have to be honest. If I'm on a court and I know a guy can't get banged around, if I'm on the other team, then I'm going to bang him around a little bit.
You bet. stolen by Miller. Gibby. And a reach in by Martin. Well, we were talking to Rick Adelman about going up against a guy who's hurt. If nothing else, you want to make him work like crazy on the defensive end as well. Yeah, you want to make them move. You want to make them run through picks. And that's what the Kings are really doing. They're really making Sam Cassell work. And Stojakovic loses the ball. Well, I tell you, Sprewell, we talk about Mark Matson's energy. It's been phenomenal. But Sprewell's energy is matching it. Again, what Flip Saunders said, they went out and got energy players. And you can see it throughout this game thus far. Well, everybody knows about Sprewell's energy from his days at Golden State through New York. And then he was very upset when he left New York last year. But he comes to Minnesota. And, of course, he's been put into a position right now where he's playing with Garnett. He's playing with Cassell. And he's with a team that is the #1 seed in the Western Conference. So it's worked out, at least to this point, very well for him. Well, lose again. You think about the Timberwolves in the past, Kevin Garnett stood out because he looked like the only emotional one. Now Kevin Garnett looks like the calm one on the floor because you have these other guys. Peeler misses the three, but it's Peja Stojakovic for the putback to make it a 6-point game. And every bucket he makes is good for his confidence. A guy like Stojakovic only needs a couple of them to go in, and then you're in trouble. He has 7 in the period. Shot clock at 7. Garnett underneath. Now Martin's going to get it away and get his own rebound and set up the probable last shot. A lot of standing around. 2 seconds. Martin's got to get it up and does. And that's the end of the period. But Sacramento came out hot, had a 9-point lead. Watch that evaporate. They're down by 6. Have a 75% roster changeover. And all the guys have helped this team win in some way or another. You look at this game, Al, and this whole series, it's been about the big three, but it's really been about the other guys on the Timberwolves that have kept them alive in this series and have won games for them. Trent Hassel and Fred Hoiberg and Matson have been absolutely amazing in this series. They have picked their spots, and those spots have been picked well enough to give this team a 3-2 advantage, and Bibby defending a little too aggressively and called for the foul. Weber has 2 fouls, and for Bibby, that's his first. Neither team has gone to the free throw line of the game. First minute, second quarter, Timberwolves up by a half dozen. Sprewell inside the line this time. On the top of the backboard. 3 is 4 for 4 from three-point land. Let's check in with Michelle.
Al, you showed the roster overhaul. Flip Saunders told me early in the season what surprised him most was how well everyone got along and how quickly they all got along. And Latrell Sprewell told me this is the closest team I've been on since my second year in the league. I really haven't experienced chemistry like this. Al?
Yeah, Flip Saunders is a guy, as Bibby launches a 3 and connects to make it 30-27. Saunders kind of an under-the-radar guy, but keep in mind, this guy has coached his team longer than any coach in the league apart from Jerry Sloan at Utah. He's an excellent coach. He got a lot of flack, and unjustly, because the Timberwolves have never made it out of the first round until this year. But, Al, this is the first year they were the favorite. Every year that the Timberwolves have been in the playoffs, they've been the underdog. Every year except for last year, they have not had home court. They finally get home court. They have to play the Lakers last year, so they lose. So Flip Saunders is an excellent coach, one of the more underrated coaches, in my opinion, in our game. He had those 7 first-round exits, but then with McHale supplanting the roster, restructuring, coaching tenure in the NBA, of course, Jerry Sloan would be on top, 16 seasons. Then Saunders in his 9th. Greg Popovich losing last night, and Greg's team done for the year would be next in line. All West Coast coaches. Balance of power. Divac. Just when you say West Coast, for Minnesota, it's Saunders on the western bank of the Mississippi. Yeah. Not quite West Coast. No, western not even close. Yeah. 3-point game, Minnesota 32-29. Cassell back in the game and scores. as Madsen went down hard.
As a brick.
Yeah. Ooh, boy.
I thought a house had fallen on the floor.
Splattered. Bibby trying to work off the pick. Wheeler gets it back to a wide open Brad Miller.
Great patience. You know, Rick Alderman this morning, we were talking to him, he said, uncharacteristically of our team, we are not a patient basketball team right now. We're settling for bad shots. We have to use the clock and be patient. If we do that, we'll get every shot we want. Another turnover by the Timberwolves.
Presley created it. Bibby then feeds Miller, but he handcuffed him.
Well, Johnny Bench couldn't have caught that one. I mean, that was a fastball.
Hoiberg. Fred Hoiberg out of Iowa State.
Fred Hoiberg's a killer right now.
He has been.
If you leave him open, he's going to make the shot. I think where they're most surprised with Fred Hoiberg is his defense. You think about it, the Bulls release Fred Hoiberg and Trenton Hassel, and both of these guys have come through in the playoffs for the Timberwolves.
And they're each just one game away from the Western Conference Final. 36 Wolves.
The offense was not accounted for, and he's done a terrific job in his own right. Trenton Hassel has to be credited, though, for his defense. I think he is surely responsible for slowing down Page's three-activity.
Wally Zerbiak comes in, and so does Gary Trent for the Timberwolves. Minnesota is 7 of 8 from three-point range. Bibby outside the Peeler, the ex-Minnesota Timberwolves. Peeler, who was kind of converted into a defensive guy last year at Minnesota. Then he gets traded, wound up stopping overnight in Milwaukee on his way to Sacramento, and he's the sixth guy off the bench in the absence of Bobby Jackson.
Yeah, I think he's more comfortable in that offensive position. I tell you, one big key right now for the Kings, and if you're Rick Alderman, you really like it, is that Doug Christie is being offensively aggressive. You know, sometimes he just settles into being that defensive player. They really need his offensive energy, and thus far in this game, he's doing it.
The last foul was on Zerbiak. And off the glass for Bibby, who just shakes his head and said, well, you know, sometimes it goes in. That ties the game. Ties the game and gets the crowd right back into the game. Garnett, long two. And Bibby came up with the ball and got fouled.
Hey, great play by Mike Bibby. You know what he did, Al? He fell out of bounds on purpose, forcing the ref to make the call. You know, Mike Bibby, they need his scoring, and he's doing that. They also need him to get involved. Little things like this. Watch this. See, Mike Bibby forced that call. I don't know if it was really a foul, but it almost made the official, he had to call something. And you usually call a bump because there was a little bump there. Smart play by Bibby.
And they fouled his second. Divac directing traffic, then hands off to Bibby. Got it.
Mike Bibby. The number one thing the Timberwolves said they had to do, Al, was what? Slow Bibby down.
Bibby now has 14 points. He's the only king in double figures. Sprewell leading Minnesota. He has 12 all on three-point shots, but he's pressured outside by Miller. Shot clock at 4. Cassell has to launch it. Not even close, but underneath Trent is there. He misses, and a 24-second violation. He didn't get it off in time.
It's so loud in here, I don't think the officials heard it at first, so could see the clock.
The one reason this place is so loud is it's small. I mean, if you're inside a place like Staples Center or in Houston at the Toyota Center, there's about twice as much, cubic feet inside? So the sound just reverberates, bouncing off the walls like crazy. And so are the Kings right now. As an 8-0 run, he's had an assist on this run, a three-point shot, then a rebound, which led to 2 more. So Garnett summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, he did, and he's right. I mean, he's the only guy, Bibby, and Christie you can make a case for also, that they can create his own shot. So they need Bibby to be aggressive.
Divac had it swiped away from behind, and then Sprewell, no basket. traveling.
He didn't get his feet set. He had trouble trying to time his jump, and so he had to take that extra step, or extra 4 steps, you might say. See, there is traveling in the NBA, Al.
Yeah, they call it about once every 12 times. Here's Bibby. Divac the rebound. And Johnson came down on him for the foul. And we'll have our first free throw attempt of the game coming almost halfway through the second period.
It's not shocking at all.
First promo of the game coming up, too. Here we go. Which team was the all-time champion? Log on to NBA.com. Cast your vote. In the quarterfinal matchups of the all-time NBA Finals Challenge on NBA.com. Divac missing that one. Cassell. Up ahead to Hoiberg. Cassell gets a pick from Johnson, but Divac came out very nicely, and then Trent inside gets doubled. Shot clock at 3, and it's stolen away by Bibby, and out in front is Christie, all alone.
Another turnover. You know, you think about the keys to this game for the Timberwolves. Number 1 was no turnovers. Keep the crowd out of it. Number 2 was slowing Mike Bibby down. Neither one has been done thus far.
And Sacramento will come back with this one. Foul is on Cassell, offensive.
Doug Christie, the defensive player for the Kings, getting involved. You know, again, his energy is infectious, and right now, he's getting his team pumped. You talk about energy, guys. When Doug Christie's energy is high, the Kings are a different basketball team.
That is Cassell's 3rd foul, so bad back and 3 fouls now for one of Minnesota's big 3 as Sam takes a seat. Stojakovic, guarded by Sprewell. Weber. Christie comes around. And Peeler is there for the rebound. But it's a loose ball foul on the Timberwolves. On Mark Madsen.
And Flip Saunders is upset because he's really upset. He's saying that Peeler pushed off to get the initial rebound, and then his pushing off is what led him to fall into Mark Madsen, and that's why Flip Saunders is so upset.
A lot of things going wrong right there. They're over the limit in fouls. They give up the 2 which Stojakovic makes.
See, here's a rebound. You can see Flip Saunders already talking about the push-off. I actually didn't think it was a push-off. I thought it was a long rebound. They got tangled up. And then you had to call the foul because Mark Madsen ran into the ball handler.
And Dan Crawford gives him the T. Let's check in with Michelle.
Yeah, Alan, you could almost see it coming because Flip Saunders has been jawing with Dan Crawford almost all game long. And Crawford has issued him a couple of, hey, Flip, step back, step back. That time he didn't step back, Al.
And so after Stojakovic makes the technical, Peeler goes to the line, makes 1 of 2. It's a 6-point game. Sacramento up 43-37, trying to force a Game 7 in Minneapolis on Wednesday night. Stolen by Peeler. Sacramento doing a very good job here in the second quarter defensively, and on the other end, Weber misses here, but Stojakovic is there to put it back in.
Everything now is off the turnover. Everything for the Kings is off the turnover.
Minnesota has turned the ball over 12 times. And Miller has his hand right in Garnett's face.
You know, you can do that as long as you don't touch him.
He did. He touched him. He gave him a facial.
He goosed him. He goosed his head. I didn't know you could do that. This is called the goose defense right here.
That's classic.
Wow. Even Brad Miller thinks that's funny. That's what I'm employing next year, Al, the goose defense.
I like that. Markovich comes away with it.
You know, right now the Kings are quicker to all the loose balls, which is unusual against the Timberwolves, who are a more athletic basketball team. That's what desperation does.
Meanwhile, Sam Cassell aching back and 3 fouls on the bench. And that compels them to use Derek Martin, who got thrown out of the game the other night, but that was a pretty good trade because he took Brad Miller with him.
I would take that trade all night. You know, it's funny when you get to the games 5 and 6. I've always thought 6 was the turning point. The two teams, I don't care how much respect they have for each other or like each other, they hate each other by game 6. You saw it last night, San Antonio and LA, two teams that you rarely see getting into, you know, scrambles. Did it all night last night. It's happening here.
Familiarity will always breed contempt, especially in the playoffs. Sprewell makes it. 45-39. 4 minutes to play. Opening half in Sacramento. Game 6. Miller alone.
That's the shot they're giving him. They're taking away back cuts, so the big man on the weak side for the Timberwolves is helping. It's going to let Brad Miller shoot that all night.
Divac, the guy on the bench.
Another turnover.
Christie. Garnett chases him and forces him to miss the shot, but there was contact.
I don't know if there was contact. They called it. Or did Doug Christie saw or felt Kevin Garnett behind him.
A supposed contact for the foul.
Great steal here. Yeah, I don't know if it was contact or more. Doug Christie could feel Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett, the MVP, as Christie can't knock down the first one.
Kings are missing free throws, and that's something they don't do.
No.
2 for 6.
Good free throw shooting team, good three-point shooting team normally. What is it with free throw shooting in the playoffs? It's like it's epidemic with everybody.
It's called pressure.
Yeah.
You know, it's called pressure.
Sprewell, his 5th three, no. Madsen with a rebound.
Game gets out of control. Flip Saunders puts Mark Madsen back in. He needs more energy.
Garnett from the baseline drops it home. 48-41 Sacramento.
I think that's where the Timberwolves are going to have to go a little while right now, is getting the ball down to Garnett. He has to make something happen.
With the steal. Hassel now. Sprewell works it inside to Garnett, who gets doubled.
See, but that leads to open shots. I think you have to go to Garnett first.
Hassel missed. Out of bounds it goes. Sacramento will inbound. 2:45 remaining in the opening half. Sacramento on top 48-41. Down in the second round was Jones. Sacramento leading 48-41. Each team in this game has had a 9-point lead. And the big runs today. Kings early, then the Wolves, and the Kings then again. Weber.
From Bibby. That entire play was set up by Mike Bibby. They're giving him so much attention now. He's able to still create, and he's getting everybody else involved.
So another 9-point lead. You had a 9-point Sacto lead, then an 18-point swing. Now it comes 18 points back the other way. 50-41 Sacramento.
You know, they're still giving Trenton Hassel those shots. The difference this afternoon is they're contested. Guys are recovering back.
And Hassel is 0 for 4. Weber missing here. Hassel with the ball. And 40 to go. Game 6. Saved by Garnett on the low bounce pass. Getting it back. And then fouled on his way to the hoop by Stojakovic.
Now, we talked about Mike Bibby. I want you to watch all the guys watching Mike Bibby. Look at these guys here. Even this guy is looking. Everybody's watching Mike Bibby, concerned about him allowing others to shoot. And if Weber and Brad Miller and Divac can make those shots, the Kings are going to be good this afternoon.
Like a magnet. Minute and a half to go. Wally Zerbiak is in the game. Hassel comes out. Weber gets the rebound. Out in front to Christie.
Great outlet by Weber. Great outlet.
Biggest lead of the game. 52-41. Sacramento ticking down to a minute. Kings hitting 61%. The Wolves at 45. Garnett, a little fall away is good.
See, every time the Kings make a run, I think the Timberwolves should go right back down to Garnett, because I don't think there's anybody on the Kings team that can stop him from getting his shot off.
You're right. I think he's going to wind up being the key to Minnesota's success, or a lack thereof today, as Miller puts it home.
Bibby again, though, Al. Bibby is causing havoc right now. He's breaking down the Timberwolves defense, and he's getting everyone involved.
Bibby has 14 points and 5 assists. Sprewell. Stojakovic now, about a 4-second differential, game and shot. Bibby's going to launch it anyway.
Yeah, I don't think that was a great shot, but that's how they played. So you have to allow them to do that. They could have gone in the half with the final shot, but that's not the way the Kings play. If it's an open shot, they take it, so you have to live with it every once in a while.
That Leopard not changing its spots here, and Miller for the reaching foul.
That is a dumb foul. It really is. You know, the way he committed it, Al, the first thing I looked up to find out was they must have a foul to give. You know, that's the type of foul you don't want. You want to make them make shots. You don't want to give them points.
This is the Timberwolves' first trip to the free throw line today because of 7 seconds left in the half. Garnett misses the first. Tonight on TNT, Detroit and Jersey. What a series that has turned out to be. Can the Nets advance in that 6th game? Tuesday night, Game 6, Pacers, Heat, Miami trying to stay alive at home on TNT at 7:30. 10-point game now as Sacramento figures to have the final shot of the first half. Bibby going to take it all the way in and has it blocked out of bounds by Garnett.
And that's great recovery. Garnett was beat at the three-point line and was able to get back under the basket to block that shot.
2.6. God, did Fisher really make that shot the other night, by the way? No. Unbelievable.
Wow. You mean like that?
Yeah, sort of like that.
Wow. Good call, Al. You saw it coming.
2.6, that is an eternity. Stojakovic way behind the line. And the Sacramento Kings, who had a 9-point lead, blew it. We're down by 9, end up by 13.
Wow. There's been more into the second, into quarters, into game shots so far in this playoffs. It's been amazing.
Page drops a bomb. Speaking of Stojakovic, here he is with Michelle.
Instead of the Lakers getting rest, you know, for Sam Cassell. Bottom line is, he's a key point guard on this team. You know, Derek Martin is an okay backup, but they need Sam Cassell on the floor.
Cassell has 3 fouls. How astonishing is it that Minnesota, as Weber shoots here and doesn't get it, Minnesota had a 17-0 run. The biggest run by any team in any playoff game this year. They had a 17-0 run and trailed by 13 points at the half.
Yeah, I think if you told Flip Saunders before the game, in the first half, you're going to have a 17-0 run, but you're going to be down 13, he would have said you're crazy.
Foul on Mike Bibby. That is his second.
It kind of, you know, is the theme of this whole series, though, Al. When you think about it, you know, this series, nothing makes sense, you know. You think a team has a game won, the other team wins the game. It's just been a strange series in that way.
They're very bizarre because when you think about it, Sacramento came very close to a sweep. They won on the road. They had a 10-point lead on the road with 4 minutes to go and coughed it up. Then they made a big comeback here to tie a game that went into overtime and had the advantage because of the foul situation and lost the game. Then they win game 4. The next thing you know, They're down 3-2.
Yeah, it's been a
Crazy.
strange game. And yet when you look at it all, everybody's back on course. If the Kings win this game, then it's 3-3, and it goes to that final game. And that final game is the game that the Timberwolves have played all year to get, Game 7 at home.
Weber.
Wide open. Tossed by Bibby.
If nothing else, the Lakers will be rooting for a 7th game here. They face a more tired team, a team that would come off just a day's rest because they played the first game of the Western Finals on Friday. And, of course, the other thing, the Lakers would have home court against Sacramento, but not against Minnesota.
Yeah, you know, the Lakers are one of those teams. I don't think they really care about home court. At least they say that. I think every team would love to have it. But right when they don't get it, then they say, well, it really doesn't matter.
Leading scorers, Sprewell and Bibby, each with 14. Bibby has just picked up his 3rd foul and is still joined with Dan Crawford. Sprewell from outside has it. And Latrell with a tray to make it a 59-49 game.
Yeah, Latrell Sprewell has been the one constant in this game. He's picking up where he left off in Game 5. You know, big concern with Bibby. If they lose Bibby to foul trouble, then the Kings are in trouble, just like the Timberwolves would be if they lose Sam Cassell.
And that's out of bounds off Sacramento. Sprewell 5 for 5 from 3-point range today. The Wolves are 8 of 10 from outside the arc. Garnett, finger roll doesn't go, and Divac clears the glass. Christie. For 2.
Again, that's all set up on Bibby. Now look at the defensive end. I really like the adjustment that Rick Adelman has made. He's taken Bibby off of the 2 primary scorers and put them on Hassel. That way, Bibby stays out of foul trouble. Excellent move.
And Bibby right now with 3 fouls. He is the only King with 3. Cassell is the only Timberwolf with 3. Stojakovic pressured in the corner, and the Kings will inbound with 12 on the clock. Minnesota hitting 47%. Sacramento right now 58%. Bibby. Rebound to Weber. And he couldn't get it to drop. And a whistle underneath and a loose ball foul on Divac.
See, that shows where Weber is not back to where he was before injury out. Any other time, that's a quick move and a dunk. It took him forever to get the ball out. Just think about it. He got that rebound. Kevin Garnett was falling out of bounds and got back in time to contest the shot.
Weber with a reconstructed knee after the injury last year. Well, 2 things in play. You know, you have surgery like that, and you're over 30 years old, Doc.
Yeah, that and you haven't played all year, so you're playing catch-up with conditioning. So there's a lot of things at play.
Pretty well missing out of the corner.
Wow. And, you know, they put him on Trent Hassel to keep him away from the foul, Bibby, and yet Bibby is just called for a holding. Now, let me tell you this. Bibby's last 2 fouls were not very smart fouls by him. They need him. I would rather give up this offensive rebound than then get caught holding on a 4th foul. And the other one was a flop that they had to give him the foul. So, you know, this is big turnaround here.
Now you have to sit him down with 21 minutes to play in the game.
So now who's going to create the offense? Who's going to create the offense from the Kings now?
And they have to bring Peeler, the ex-Timberwolf, into the game. That call, foul on Christie. And Cassell, you can see how Cassell can barely get up. He can barely arise.
He looks like you getting the golf cart out.
Thanks, Doc. He needs a shot here.
I mean, you know, again, they're talking about the hits. And you watch them.
And that is not only a foul on Christie, that's already the 15th foul in 3 minutes and 5 seconds. So they'll spend the rest of the quarter going to the line.
But with 9 minutes left in the quarter, 8:55, You know, now the Kings, if you're thinking of the Timberwolves, they attack the basket, they get a free pass to the line.
Cassell makes one of two.
This is when the great offense of the Kings is going to have to come through their movement. See, Mike Bibby is able to create his own
problem, the back spasms over the last week or so. And there's a stimulator, and let's check in with Michelle.
Yeah, he's actually wearing wires on his back throughout this game now. They've got him taped to those wires underneath his uniform. So when he comes to the bench, Al, they just have to plug him in, turn on that stim, and let him get treatment during every available moment. Al?
Good Energizer Bunny commercial, I would think, in play here. Shot clock violation. Peeler couldn't get it off in time.
Think about it. The first possession that Mike Bibby is not in, the Kings get a 24-second violation. That's because they don't have that guy who can create the shot.
Bibby with 4 fouls. Picked up the last 2 in a big hurry. That was the first Kings turnover in this half. It's saved at the baseline. It comes back out to Cassell.
And I think they're going to argue that the ball didn't touch the rim, so they should reset the clock. I'm not so sure. I didn't have a good look, but that's what the argument here. The officials are saying it did or didn't. They're saying it did not touch the rim, so they're setting it back to 7 seconds.
I would agree. Looked like an air ball from here, 7 seconds as they inbounded. Hassel to inbound. Looking for Garnett. Garnett then volleyballs it over to Sprewell. What a play.
It's a staple play that the Timberwolves have run for 5 years because Garnett can always get the ball. They throw it up to him. They know they're going to help, and he passes it to the open guy.
Beautiful tap job, and that's 6 3-pointers for Latrell Sprewell. Stojakovic. Sprewell coming back the other way. It's a 6-point game. Cassell.
Yeah, I think it's difficult for Cassell to get his legs up under him. That's the second 3-pointer that he's been short on. He might have to give up on that shot until he gets looser.
Divac. Weber is there. Gives it to Vlade.
See that again? That usually means that Weber is going up. But he can't elevate right now, so instead he has to pass in the interior. Great cut by Christie.
Christie draws the foul underneath. Let's go back to the flip pass from Garnett into the corner to Sprewell.
See, they're banking on the help. And whenever you throw it to Garnett, that guy in the corner helps. He flicks it to the helper's guy, and that guy gets the open shot.
Meanwhile, that foul was on Cassell, and that's 4 on him. So Sam Cassell has to go back to the bench. Bibby on the other side is already on the bench as Christie makes the first of 2.
Yeah, I find it interesting. Flip Saunders is going to take Sam Cassell out. Sam Cassell just talked Flip Saunders into not taking him out of the game. That's a gamble because you don't have Bibby on the floor. I think Minnesota could probably get away with not having Cassell on the floor right now as well. I think Bibby is more important because he means so much more to the offense.
Sprewell goes down, looks to get rid of it, does. Fed underneath, doesn't go. And Weber starts back up the court, and Garnett fouls him.
Well, Garnett fouled him all the way up the court. You know, they couldn't see it. Danny Crawford was blocked out at first. See, I like this. Flip Saunders thought about it. He allowed Sam to talk him out of it at first, and you look at him. Sam's not happy, but I think Flip Saunders is doing the right thing.
I think
He's
so,
looking
too.
at the score. It's a good move. You know, you can see it here. Please, coach, don't take me out. You know what Flip is thinking? If I don't take you out, what you're saying is you're not going to play any defense. And I need somebody who's willing to defend out on the floor. I think it's a good move by Flip Saunders.
So Martin comes into the game, and Christie gets fouled and goes to the line.
Smart play by Christie. He knew he had Latrell Sprewell on his back, so he kind of took a jump shot going backwards so he can feel the body and get a foul.
You know, the Celtics next year, why don't you,
I might have
put it
to.
into play?
If after they get one, they can shoot like him, I'll have one. That is funny. Wow. I like having long nails when I was a player because I wanted to scratch some guys.
65-55. Meanwhile, when you were with the Clippers, you got cut like 5 times in a year.
Exactly. I was a cut team. Swing.
Good ball movement, but the play clock is now down to 3. Sprewell under pressure misses. And out of bounds it goes. And for Latrell Sprewell, that's the first 3-pointer he's missed. He's now 6 out of 7.
You know, Pete Carell said something really funny before the game. He said, you know, everyone attacked us about not playing defense. Now we're playing defense and we can't score anymore. So we can't get them both at the same time.
Stojakovic.
Floating right. You see that? Floating right.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to make him do.
Sprewell whips it back outside to Hoiberg. Five and a half remaining, third period. 10-point Sacramento lead. Trying to force a game 7. Weber underneath and curls a jam.
Now that's athletic. Wow. An athletic move and a great pass from Levi.
2 more for Chris, and the Kings are up by a dozen. Twice to the finals with Portland, but no Larry O'Brien silverware.
Yeah, and for the most part, those coaches play better teams. You know, I think that's always overlooked. You know, like Flip Saunders, they keep talking about him again by not getting out of the first round. If you're playing a better team, usually you don't win those series.
I said silverware. I guess I meant goldware, huh?
The golden ball.
The gold ball, as Jack keeps referring to it as. Christie missing. And the rebound taken by Miller away from Garnett. Miller lucky to get it back. Christie now. Good tough defense by Minnesota. But another rebound for Sacramento.
See, Doug Christie, in essence, has become the point guard for the Kings.
Then Weber has it taken away by the quick hands of Hoiberg. Martin drives all the way. Doesn't get the bounce. And a foul here on Garnett. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, the fact that Martin attacked the rim was what Flip Saunders wants. Number one, he wants them to run more, he said in the last timeout, Al. And then he wants them to attack the rim. He reminded them, get aggressive. We've only made 4 free throws in this game. He wants them to get to the line much more than they have, Al.
Yeah, 4 out of 6, and Sacramento is 7 out of 11 from the line.
You can tell the importance of the point guard in this series. Since both guards have set out, both offenses look stagnant. They're going all the way down to the shot clock. That's why you need creators on your basketball team.
That last foul on Garnett was his 3rd. Stojakovic. Good move. Can't get it to drop. Matchson with a rebound. 3.5 left in the 3rd. Inside the Garnett. He gets doubled. Comes through the lane. Puts it in. Great move.
That move. You know why? They needed a bucket. He ran down, he posted up, and even though he was double teamed, he would not be denied. That's what Garnett has to do in this series.
Peeler out of the corner. Led the league in 3-point percentage, and then Miller gets fouled underneath.
Minnesota went to a zone on that possession. And, you know, I don't know if that was a great move. They were already struggling running their offense with Bibby out of the game. You know, in a lot of ways, that allows the Kings to get one of those open shots with the zone. And number 2, it allows them to rebound. And one thing zones do in our league, or in any league, it makes you a weaker defensive rebounding team.
Brad Miller makes the first or second. NBA TV immediately following every playoff and NBA Finals game. You can tune in for post-game press conferences. Live and unedited.
You know, you talk about game inside the game. Right when Matson went in, Rick Alderman called for Brad Miller. So I think what Rick Alderman is going to try to do, he knows that Matson is their energy.
Miller with a rebound. Elbows flying. And a foul.
See, Brad Miller, in a lot of ways, you think about it, he's taken away what Matson does. Matson had a dunk. Brad Miller blocks the shot. Brad Miller gets the rebound. Now he's the energy guy. So it's working out perfect for the Kings. They had to find a way to match Matson's energy. Rick Edelman has decided, let's use Brad Miller to do that.
He was on his way to doing it the other night, but then Derek Martin got into the act with him.
Down went Martin.
Yeah.
When you look at these two guys in an alley, I would run. I would absolutely go the other way.
There aren't too many guys in the NBA who want to be in the alley.
That's true. That's true. Guys are too strong now. We were hot dog players.
Is Muggsy Bogues still around?
Yeah.
Sacramento by 14. Serbiak. Hoiberg. Madsen keeps it alive. Garnett.
Get it to Garnett. Yes. And that's
Garnett
what they have to do.
With a foul underneath.
And again, it looks like Miller and Matson were getting into it again. But I think the Timberwolves are doing the right thing. They're trying to get it to Garnett. I think right now, with their offense, you can see a little bit out of sync. He's the one area that they can go to, him on the post. And I like that Garnett is trying to get it down there. On the other end, with the Kings, they're trying to score through their motion. They know they don't have that great post player because of Weber's help. So they're just going to try to use their motion to score.
That foul was on Christie, his fourth. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Mark Madsen, the energy he brings to this team is not well understood by his teammates. They've told me he doesn't drink caffeine. He drinks no coffee, eats no chocolate. They'd like to imagine him on a Red Bull, but they've never seen it out. They don't know where he gets it.
Wow, they should call Darryl Armstrong. Get some coffee, some chocolate.
I bet you he sneaks coffee.
He has to.
Weber. Wow. And then threw a bounce pass out of bounds.
The thought was good. The execution of that pass was not. You know, on that time down, though, again, Minnesota went to zone. And without Bibby, it did have an effect.
Cassell still on the bench. He has 4 fouls. Bibby has 4 fouls, and so does Christie for Sacramento. So the is alone in the corner. And Wally, who had missed 3 weeks with 3 small broken bones in his lower back, had missed most of the season because of a foot ailment, hits here to make it an 11-point game. And then Sprewell creates the steal and the uncontested jam to make it single figures. 71-62.
Look at the Kings' offense right now. It's stagnant. No one's moving.
Wolves trying to climb back into the game as the third period winds down. Stojakovic. Wow. Nothing bigger than a 3 like that when the opposition is beginning to cut into the lead, building the momentum heading to the fourth quarter.
Timely shots.
Serbiak. Final minute, period 3. Christie doubled in the corner. Peeler is alone. Peeler had a 48% three-point average this season, but has missed a couple here in the last couple of minutes, and it's a 12-point game, and Divac returns for Sacramento. Weber out.
You know, Rick Alderman's been getting a lot of heat because he's really only playing 7 guys in this series. And, you know, they say you can't do that. I disagree with that. You play your 7 best guys. If those are the guys you trust, that's who you have to play.
Well, if the disparity between 7 and 8 is so enormous, you're right. You can only play 7, you play 7, and Christie scores. And Garnett is down. Garnett in backcourt. He never got across the line. Garnett, as play continues, very slow in getting up. And a lot of agony, and Peeler goes after him. Peeler threw 2 left elbows at Garnett.
Well, I'm going to say this. Garnett threw the first one, Al. Garnett threw an elbow at Peeler first, and then Peeler responded back at him. Bad play by Garnett first. You know, it's a lot like the Miller thing. Now, I don't think they saw Garnett because the refs were behind Garnett. But not a very smart play. And
the craziest thing of all is, why would you jeopardize in a 6th game a suspension in a possible 7th game? You can't. Even getting in anything like this is crazy.
You can't do it. You can't do it. And, you know, emotions. I've been in fights as a player, but not now.
Let's go back to the genesis here if we can find it.
Very much like the Brad Miller and Martin play. Very much. Okay, that started it. Now when you watch them come back down the floor, see, Garnett threw the first one.
Peeler,
what's this?
Peeler has been ejected.
There's the hunt. I tell you, I don't know. You know, Garnett throws the first elbow. Peeler threw an elbow, but it was to the face.
Yeah.
You know, either you eject both of them or you give them both techs.
And now the fans are throwing stuff, and, you know, this is like insane. They've got those batons or whatever they were. I assume they were made out of plastic. I hope so.
They're still going to hurt if they hit us.
Yeah. Look at the glow sticks.
Yeah, this is
the Malou brothers are up there trying to tell the crowd to knock it off. Hoiberg is going to go to the line to shoot a technical foul here. That's how it begins.
That's how it starts.
Play continued at the other end. This is the technical foul that Hoiberg makes to make it a 13-point game. Now we go back to what happened here. After that.
Bam. That's the first one, and that's a retaliation. And I thought you could see the angles of the officials. They couldn't see Garnett. They couldn't see the first one. So, you know, unfortunately, and the fans are seeing it now, the officials didn't see Garnett throw the first punch.
Right.
You know, they were in a tough spot, the officials, because they were blocked out of it, Al. But in my opinion, if you see them both, either both guys have to go or both guys get attacked.
As it turns out, for the moment, we know that Peeler has been ejected. And again, on a team with a 7-man rotation, he is one of those 7. You also have Bibby, the guy who plays in front of him, with 4. So Adelman will really be short now.
You can see them getting tangled up here, and Garnett kind of grabs his arm, and that's what leads to that. But, you know, that started it. But the big play was back down on the other end, and that's where they missed it. Watch Garnett throw the elbow right here. After the next shot, you'll see it.
Meanwhile, this is Stojakovic. Normally shoots over 90% from the free throw line, but missing the first. It's a double technical on that end, so he makes 1 out of 2. It's a 14-point.
Now watch this. See, that's the punch, and that's the retaliation. First elbow, bam, back, retaliation. Both are elbows, except for Peeler's was above the shoulders, and that's where Peeler should be thrown out, because it was above the shoulders.
And Peeler does get thrown out. Rodney Buford, who's played just a couple of minutes in this entire series, comes into the game.
But again, you make the point, Al. We were just talking about the 7-man rotation of the Kings. Mike Bibby has 4 fouls, so he has to sit out. Peeler's out of the game, so he has to sit out. So now they're in a lot of trouble.
And Darius Ngala, a guy who could also come in and help out a little bit, doesn't really match up well against the Timberwolves.
The best part of that was Garnett, after getting hit, was thinking about it and then backed off.
Yeah.
So he caught himself afterwards, but very dangerous move by Garnett on that elbow. He could have easily been thrown out of this game and maybe even suspended for the next game.
Exactly.
And you can't do that in a game like this.
The last two free throws are going to be taken again because Saunders actually gets to pick the king to shoot them after Stojakovic had gone to the free throw line.
You know what? I wouldn't do it. You know why? Because Stojakovic missed one.
He missed one. I'm thinking the same thing. He gets to pick anybody. So he picks Jabari Smith, who averaged 2 points a game out of LSU, and let's see if he makes one of two.
He's already tied.
He's already tied.
I would have said that's okay. We'll take it.
Yeah, the deal was, I would take the 1 of 2 from Stojakovic. So Jabari Smith, only in the game because Saunders said, I'll go to the end of your bench. I'll find the last guy. I'll find the coldest guy. I'll find the guy who probably won't make 1 of 2. He brings in Jabari Smith. And Flip just got Jabari.
Yeah, he just basically gave the Kings an extra point.
There was also a personal foul on Garnett just to do the rest of the housekeeping, his 4th. You've got 6 seconds left in the period. And Stojakovic doesn't make the last shot of the period, but the Sacramento Kings have a 15-point lead with 12 minutes to go in the 6th game of the Western Conference semifinals. Sacramento 78, Minnesota 63.
Miller came back in the game. You know, the energy turned into something else, and then Peeler and Garnett get into it.
And then the 4th quarter begins. Rodney Buford, with Peeler having been thrown out of the game, is the guy who's going to have to see action in place of Bibby. Sprewell's shot is short. Saved in the corner, and it comes all the way back to Cassell. Is saved by Hoiberg. And Garnett can't get there. Christie does. Leads the break to Stojakovic. No basket.
Boy, Christie should have taken that out. When you get that close to the basket, the pass is difficult. Number 1, you would deem the active shooting. Number 2, now you don't get that. I find it interesting that they're bringing Mike Bibby back in. You know, with a 15-point lead, you may be able to milk it a little bit and keep him on the bench, give him more rest, and keep him out of foul trouble.
Well, he has 2 remaining, but Cassell only has 1 because he just picked up his 5th. So Cassell with 5 fouls as Christie goes underneath. It gets swung out to Buford. Now Peja. And Stojakovic goes all the way and can't get it to drop.
Yes, Garnett being there made him miss that shot.
Meanwhile, Cassell with 5 fouls, 5th game in a row. He's had at least 5 fouls, and Garnett goes all the way in.
See, the Timberwolves are doing a good thing. They know that their offense is stagnant. They're going to go down to Kevin Garnett.
Christie. He couldn't get it to drop, and underneath it's Miller and Garnett. And it's come back the other way.
See, 2 plays in a row. The missed layup by Stojakovic was caused because Kevin Garnett was standing there. That one Garnett contests. On the offensive end, Garnett scores. So he's starting to impose his will in this game.
Hoiberg back to Garnett. Shot clock at 7. Stojakovic during the glass.
And very well defended by Brad Miller.
And Hoiberg with a foul. In these playoffs, the only team to overcome a double-digit deficit and win a game in the 4th quarter would be Minnesota. They did it against the Kings in Minneapolis in game 2. In fact, they were down, not only down in the 4th quarter when it began, but Stojakovic hits 3 down by 10 with 4 minutes to play.
Yeah, and that's a rare open look for Stojakovic. You should just give him those. Those are layups for him.
Serbiak. It'll count. And he goes to the line.
You know, Rick Alderman, you can look at him. He's looking at Brad Miller and whoever committed that foul. Listen, if you're going to give up a layup, give it up or foul him. You cannot give up a three-point play right here, right on the bump. He cannot be allowed to make this shot. Those are extra points that your team is giving up. And Rick Alderman is complaining about that this morning.
Three-point play for Serbiak to make it a 13-point game. Under 10 to play. Fourth quarter, game 6. Bibby. 4 times it bounces.
You know, the offense looks pretty good now. Right, Bibby's back on the floor.
Big difference. Timeout. Timberwolves. 9:23 remaining in the fourth as Bibby drives. The fourth time is the charm.
So many game 7, you know, that you got to feel that they have a little advantage also.
Heartbreaking game 7s.
And with this much time, anything can still happen in this game.
Oh, we've seen it. We're not putting this one in the refrigerator.
No. The second three-point. Look at Rick Alderman. Look at him. He's saying foul, guys. If a guy has a layup, you cannot allow him to lay it up. This is the playoffs. Foul him.
And Bibby fouled him, and that's 5 fouls as Serbiak goes to the free throw line. 5 now. 13-point lead. Checking with Michelle again.
Wally Serbiak is doing what he's doing out, wearing a brace around his lower back with a pad inserted to protect those broken bones you talked about. So you've got Cassell with a bad back, Wally recovering and wearing that brace and a pad to protect him. Al?
And on the other side, Bibby with 5 fouls and Peeler ejected from the game. Three-pointer from the corner by Buford. So Buford, who would not have gotten out of his sweat clothes today, had Peeler not been thrown out of the game, hits a big 3.
Wally tip.
And Cassell banks one in.
See, that's, you know, you look at Bibby with that 5th foul. You know, he came in with the team with a 16-point lead. That's why I probably would have waited a little longer to put him in. You can sub him by score. You know, as long as your team is up, you can leave him on the bench.
Stojakovic, the rebound to Cassell.
Look at Cassell.
He's in agony. Serbiak dishes it out to Latrell Sprewell.
It's going to be timeout time pretty quickly for the Kings. You cannot allow this game to get out of control.
Buford. Miller the tip. Miller.
Great job by Buford. You know, he gets the 1-3. The assumption would be he takes the second one. Instead, he penetrates, which was a great move.
Divac enjoyed it on the bench. 13-point game. Cassell all the way.
See, that was caused because of Bibby's 5th foul. Normally, Bibby would have been standing there when Cassell came off. Bibby was scared to get involved because he's worried about committing that 6th foul.
Cassell has 13 points. Buford trying to get it inside to Miller. Miller gets lucky and winds up with the basket.
I'll tell you what, great pass, though. Buford put that pass. The only guy who could have got their hands on that was Brad Miller. We're down and out in football.
Cassell again.
Wow.
Scores it, boy.
That's the 3rd three-point play in a row. I'm looking at Rick Alderman, and I think he's going to pass out. He wants someone to go down.
Meanwhile, Buford with a 3-pointer here. You know how many he had during the season? None.
3 times in this building. It's the same building. If we make 3 stops and score 3 times, this game changes completely. Al?
And meanwhile, Cassell just adds a...
Up the Kings 13 points.
And the Kings was very serious. As Buford gets underneath the basket and gets free.
Boy, 3 sensational plays by Buford since he's come into the game.
And he has to play well because they've got Bibby with 5, Christie with 5, and Peeler's been thrown out of the game.
See, they're trying to draw Bibby's 6th foul right now.
Garnett. Stojakovic to Bibby now halfway through the 4th quarter. Weber guarded by Sprewell. Serbiak comes over to double. Bibby circles back. 4 on the clock. Sprewell with the rebound. And then Miller reaches in and commits the foul. 5:43 left in the 4th. It's a 12-point game. Rodney Buford, 4th-year guy out of Creighton, off the bench and right into the fray. And while Bibby's on the bench, that's when Jabari Smith came in to make 2 free throws. Buford plants a 3.
Yeah, pretty good hands. You know, it's funny, in this series so far, it's been more Trenton Hassel and the guys off the bench from Minnesota who have made the difference. This afternoon, it's been the Kings' other guys who have done well for them.
And that is the big shock in a 7-man rotation with one of the guys having been ejected in Peeler. Sprewell fouled on his way to the basket. Meanwhile, Hassel has no points for Minnesota today.
But you know what? I mean, obviously a bad foul, it gets to the basket, but that's what you have to do. Sprewell has a layup if you don't foul him. Now at least he has to make 2 free throws to get to 2 points.
First time that Latrell has been to the line today. He's 6 of 7 from 3-point punches today. 10 of 22 from the field, and he has 26 now, 27 points as that one drops. Sprewell coming off a 34-point game. He was the dominant figure in the 5th game on Friday.
And I think Garnett's been a little too quiet, you know, in this second half. See, they just saved 2 points out. Again, you know, and I'm harping on this fouling. I mean, they just saved the bucket and a 3-point play by fouling. Good foul.
Kings by 11. Bibby with those 5 fouls. Stojakovic to Buford. Taken out of the air by Garnett. Everybody in the joint wanted goaltending.
It was not goaltending. The ball was below the rim, and it had no shot of going in.
Hoiberg out of the corner rims it out.
You know, it's not only if it's above the rim, it has to have a shot of going in. That was not going in.
Buford.
Woo!
7 points for Buford. Again, this is a guy who doesn't get out of his sweatpants if Peeler doesn't get thrown out of the game. Serbiak.
Wow. The one thing they're doing that Flip Saunders asked them to do is attack the basket. They're doing that.
Buford played in only 22 games this season. His high in any one of those would be 6. He averaged 1.9 per game, and Stojakovic can't get it to fall with 4 minutes to play, and Minnesota will inbound. Here's the call.
Yeah, that call to me. I mean, I don't think it has any chance, but Buford is not shy today. He's just going to keep putting it up. And on the other end, 5th foul by Brad Miller, and the 2nd bad foul in a row in the backcourt. I mean, these are fouls. When you have a lead, you can't do 2 things, Al. You can't turn the ball over to give the team easy shots, and you can't foul with no shot clock moving. And Brad Miller has done that twice now.
You see 3 on the cusp of ejection or disqualification. as they each have 5 fouls, and Peeler is already gone. It's a 10-point game as Zerbiak tries to cut it to 9.
And I look at the clock, it's 24 seconds, only 24 seconds. You know, so the Timberwolves get to walk down the floor and get 2 points without the clock moving at all.
9-point game, under 4 to play in Game 6. Elimination game for Sacramento. If they win, 7th game on a Wednesday. Weber has it blocked by Garnett, but he also got his arm, and that is 5 on Garnett.
I think everyone in this building has 5 fouls right now.
I'm telling you, this goes to overtime.
It really is.
You're getting a uniform back on.
And then everybody would turn the sets off.
Not Chris Rivers.
No, yeah, that's right.
Weber misses the first.
So, you know, again, the foul. He contested the shot, didn't get it, fouled, so no layup, and now he misses his first free throw.
And his second. It's just amazing in these playoffs, in every series.
And big ones are being missed.
Sprewell collects it. Zerbiak all the way, too hard, but Garnett is there to jam it home and make it a 7-point differential.
How many layups or dunks have the Timberwolves had? I bet of their last 6 shots, they've all been point-blank layups.
Weber.
Big shot. Again, caused by Bibby, the elbow pick and roll.
3 minutes to play. Hoiberg from outside. Buford high for the rebound.
Buford has come in and done an excellent job.
The unlikeliest of heroes. Weber loses it. Taken away by Garnett, but gotten back by Bibby to Miller, who gets hammered by Cassell, and that's going to be his 6th foul. So he's out of the game.
I didn't think it was a flagrant foul, but in my opinion, it was an excellent foul. He stopped the bucket, even though that was his 6th foul. But at this point in the game, it's too important to give up easy shots.
.232 to go. Sacramento by 9. The Selcon.
Yeah, I mean, really, the Timberwolves are not acting like a team right now that won the West, you know, because little things like the Garnett thing with Peeler and the Sam Cassell thing right here. No, this game is not over. Maybe they're looking at the clock, thinking it's over, and they have a game to give. But you got to keep your composure in playoff series, and right now they're not doing it.
I think that way. You're right. I mean, you get thrown out of the game, you don't give up another point.
Exactly.
Stojakovic made the technical. Miller's at the line for 2. Miller now has 15 points. He's 5 of 5, and make it 6 out of 6 from the line. It's a 12-point game. Miller has not missed a shot today. He's 5 of 5 from the field, 6 of 6 from the free throw line.
But think about it, Al. The foul that Sam committed, he committed it to avoid a 3-point play. By giving up the tap, he gave a 3-point play.
Exactly. 99-87 Sacramento. Coming up to the 2-minute mark. Weber. Into triple digits to go, and they're going to go back to the Twin Cities for a 7th game on Wednesday.
Yeah, now this game is over.
Zerbiak. In the history of the NBA, in Game 7 in the playoffs, the home team has won 83% of the time. That's 5 out of every 6 games. 1:20 to play. Passer. Stojakovic. T-Wolves will go home after the game. Kings, of course, will stay here and then travel on Tuesday. And the Lakers will get a couple of extra days off, too, because now the West won't open until the finals won't open until Friday, either in Minnesota or in L.A. if Sacramento wins this series.
You know, Al, Mike Bibby was great in this game. But I think two guys who stand out to me is, in the first half, Doug Christie. He was aggressive offensively. He was great defensively, and he gave him energy. And in the second half, Brad Miller was an irritant. You know, he started it more in the first half. But to me, Brad Miller did in Game 6 what Mark Madsen did in Game 5. He did all the dirty work, and that, to me, was the difference in this game. The Kings stood up and played physical, played with energy, and to me, this is a Brad Miller game, and he's the reason they're going to Game 7.
Brad Miller is pitching a perfect game. He is 5 of 5 from the field. He is now 7 of 7 from the free throw line. He has 7 rebounds, and he finally misses one here. There goes the perfect game with 2 out in the 9th inning.
Yes, a single.
And also, how about a few kudos for one Rodney Buford.
Yes.
Off the bench when Peeler got ejected, hit a big 3, hit another big 2. Stojakovic now, and this is just frosting on the cake.
It is, Al, but every time Stojakovic scores, psychologically, it's important.
Stojakovic with 22 points. And now the Kings can just run the clock out, and the crowd can exult. And this series is going to go to a Game 7.
It's going to be a great Game 7.
It should be. So now the angst goes back to Minneapolis. There's angst all over this series.
Yes, it is now, for sure.
Game 7. They'll play it on Wednesday.